I'm Lee Morse from Fstoppers.com, and you are about to watch a very short excerpt from our newest tutorial, how to become a professional commercial wedding photographer. Throughout this entire tutorial, we try to teach you how we light every single aspect of a wedding day. And this may be the ceremony, this may be pose pictures, this may be the reception. But in this small excerpt, I'm going to show you how I use my ProPhoto D1 mono lights to blast light into a wall or into a ceiling to get super soft, flattering light on my pose pictures after every single ceremony. If you have any interest in wedding photography at all, whether that be from the business side of things or the actual shooting side of things, head over to fstoppers.com/wedding-DVD. You can see a full promo video on what our DVD has to offer. I believe that we've done a great job of covering every single aspect of running a successful wedding business. All right, so I was recently hired to shoot this wedding here in Washington, D.C. I showed up a couple hours early to make sure that I was at the right church and everything, and I also like to scope out the actual sanctuary to see what I'm going to do for pose pictures directly after the ceremony. And this is the perfect situation to light up the entire sanctuary rather than just lighting the people. And to do that, I have a single ProPhoto D1. This is a 1,000 watt head. I have it plugged into the wall over here, and I'm using the ProPhoto Air remote to trigger it. I'm firing it at full power, and I'm going to shoot it kind of towards the wall and the ceiling up here, and it's going to create super soft side light that's going to light everybody up front. And this is the easiest way to light big groups of people because you're not worried about shadows anymore. You're not worried about light fall off because you're lighting such a huge area of the room. Keep in mind, you don't have to buy ProPhoto here. I used to do this with Dynalite strobes. You can also use Alien Bees or Einsteins, whatever you've got. The thing is, if you want to light up a big area, you're going to need a lot of power. So a sanctuary like this with really tall ceilings, an on-camera flash is not going to be enough light for you to bounce off of the ceiling. So you're gonna want some sort of studio strobe. But I have been in many churches before that are a good bit smaller, and you actually can just use SB800s or 580 EXs, and that's plenty of light. With group shots, you know, I'm gonna be shooting a lot of pictures over and over and over again, so I don't wanna deal with really slow recycle times. That's why I've always been a big fan of actually plugging into the wall and using a studio strobe that can refresh in about 2 seconds. I can just shoot pictures really quickly, and you're not having to wait in between each shot to shoot. So come over here and I'm gonna show you what it looks like with and without this light with me shooting my assistant. All right, so with this shot you can see that it's perfectly lit, and I have nice side soft light coming in from the camera right, and I'm going to cut it off now and I'll show you what this light's actually doing. And you can see it's almost completely dark. So at this point, I am shooting at ISO 125, 1/100th of a second at f5, and that allows me to get enough depth of field to capture everyone sharply if I'm having, you know, 3 rows of people, and you can see how important this light is here. And great looking, professionally lit shot. Sometimes you're not going to be lucky enough to have white ceilings and white walls in your church or wherever you're going to be shooting the ceremony, and you may only have white walls. But I've been in many wedding situations before where I have used my studio strobes to bounce off walls rather than ceilings, and I can still get really nice looking pose pictures. Here's another example of a chapel that's very different than a lot of standard churches. We have white walls on the sides, but then the ceiling is made of wood and it goes up really high. So bouncing off the ceiling is not gonna work in this situation because it will reflect back really red light. So what I've decided to do is shoot light off of one of the walls, and it's going to create soft directional side light, but it's gonna look really good for the pose shots. A lot of times photographers are going to come in with a lot of equipment like soft boxes or umbrellas, and they're having to light from the left and the right. And the problem with that is, one, of course, it takes a long time to set up. It's just really complicated. But the other problem is it can create lots of shadows and problems if there's people in different depths. So if you have like one row of people in front and then a second row and a third row, if you have light coming from a small light source from the side, you can cast shadows on people's faces in the back. So it's much easier if you can light up the entire room or a wall or a ceiling, and you can light up an entire group without having to really mess with your lights at all. Sometimes there is no surface that's white. I shoot in weddings all the time that are made completely of wood, and in that situation you need to get there early enough so that you can come up with another plan. In this situation, I actually did enough tests and figured out that with 2 of my 1000 watt mono lights at full power, I could bounce the light into a wood wall and a wood ceiling, and it was possible for me to white balance the color out and get the images looking decent enough. That's pretty rare though. In most cases, bouncing off wood will not work.